Picture this moment. It is late at night. The house is quiet. The blue light from your phone or your computer screen is the only thing illuminating your face. You are lying in bed, or maybe sitting at your desk, and your body feels heavy. Not the good kind of heavy that comes after a long day of hard work and accomplishment. No, this is a different kind of weight. It is the hollow, sinking heaviness of knowing that another day has just slipped through your fingers. You look at the clock. It is midnight, or maybe 1 a.m., and a quiet, terrifying thought whispers in the back of your mind. It says, I did it again. You promised yourself this morning that today would be different. You had the list. You had the intention. You had that burst of energy when you woke up. But then, somewhere between the morning coffee and the evening shadows, the time just evaporated. You didn't do the big project. You didn't start the workout routine. You didn't write the book. You just existed. And now, looking at the ceiling, you aren't just tired, you are disappointed. And deeper than the disappointment is a growing fear. The fear that this isn't just about one wasted day. It is the fear that this is your life, that you are watching your potential bleed out, drop by drop, day by day, while you stand there frozen, unable to stop the bleeding. If this scene feels uncomfortably familiar to you, I need you to listen very closely, because what you are experiencing is not laziness. It is not a lack of willpower, and you are certainly not broken. The shame you feel right now, that shame is actually part of the trap. It is the glue that keeps you stuck in this loop. Most people think they waste time because they don't care enough. But the psychology suggests the exact opposite. You waste time because you care too much. You are paralyzed by the weight of your own potential. We need to dismantle this right now, before another year disappears into the fog. This is the psychology of why you are waiting for a life that is waiting for you. Let's look at the behaviors. Really look at them. Maybe you are the researcher. This is a very clever disguise your brain wears. You have a goal. Maybe it is to start a business, or get fit, or learn a language. So, what do? You watch videos about it, you read articles, you buy the perfect notebook, you research the best software, you spend 4 hours watching tutorials on how to edit videos, but you never actually open the editing software. Your brain gives you a hit of dopamine for this. It tells you, good job, you are working! But you aren't working. You are preparing to work. And preparation is the most dangerous form of procrastination because it feels like progress. It feels responsible. But really, it is just a safe place to hide from the terrifying possibility of doing the thing badly. You are building a monument to the work instead of doing the work. Or maybe you fall into the trap of the tomorrow fantasy. This is something almost all of us do. You are sitting on the couch, feeling gross and unproductive. You feel the guilt rising in your chest. So, to make the guilt go away, you make a deal with yourself. You think, okay, today was a wash, but tomorrow I wake up at 5 a.m. I will drink a gallon of water. I will work for 6 hours straight. Tomorrow will be perfect. And in that moment, you feel better. The anxiety drops. Why? Because you have just offloaded the responsibility to future you. You imagine future you as this superhero who has infinite energy and no distractions. But here is the brutal truth. Future you is just present you, but tired and burdened with the work you didn't do today. By treating tomorrow as a magical trash can where you can dump all your responsibilities, you guarantee that tomorrow will fail too. Or perhaps you are the deadline junkie. You cannot make yourself move until the pressure is so high that the fear of failure overrides the fear of starting. You wait until the night before. You wait until the bills are overdue. You wait until your health gives you a scare. You have trained your nervous system to only function when it is flooded with cortisol and adrenaline. You tell yourself, I work better under pressure. No, you don't. You just don't know how to work without a crisis. You have become addicted to the emergency because the emergency is the only thing loud enough to drown out your perfectionism. So, what is actually happening under the hood? Psychologists call this the intention-action gap. But let's call it what it really feels like, the perfectionism paralysis. We often think of perfectionists as people with color-coded closets and flawless handwriting. But true perfectionism is messy. True perfectionism looks like procrastination. It is the subconscious belief that if I cannot do it perfectly, I shouldn't do it at all. Your brain views the task, writing that script, making that call, going to the gym as a threat. Not a physical threat, but an identity threat. If you try and you fail, it proves you aren't good enough. But if you procrastinate, if you wait until the last minute and do a mediocre job, then you have an excuse. You can say, well, I didn't have enough time. Procrastination is a shield. It protects your ego from the pain of trying your best and still falling short. Where does this start? For many of you, this goes back to childhood. Think back to when you were in school. Were you the gifted kid? Were you the one who was told you were so smart, so talented, so full of potential? That sounds like a compliment. But for a developing brain, it can be a curse. When you are praised for being smart, rather than for working hard, you become terrified of difficult tasks. Because if you have to try hard, maybe you aren't smart. If you struggle, maybe the label is wrong. So you learn to coast. You learn to do things quickly at the last minute to prove your brilliance. You learn that effort is risky. Now, as an adult, the stakes are higher, and the tasks are harder. Coasting doesn't work anymore. But your brain is still running that old software. It is still trying to protect you from the shame of struggle. You are still waiting for the teacher to give you an assignment. But there are no teachers anymore. There is just you. And this creates the loop. The darker loop. It starts with a trigger, usually a task that makes you feel unsure or overwhelmed. Your brain screams, discomfort, abort mission. So you seek relief. You pick up your phone. You open social media. You eat the snack. This provides temporary relief. The anxiety goes down for a few minutes, but while you are scrolling, the task is still there. It is growing in the background, and now, a new feeling enters. Guilt. You look at the clock and see 2 hours have passed. The guilt creates more anxiety. I should be working. I'm failing. And what does your brain do when it feels anxiety? It seeks relief again. So you scroll more, you watch another episode, you are not enjoying the leisure, you aren't actually watching the movie, you're just using it to numb the screaming in your head. It is a cycle of self-medication where the drug is distraction and the hangover is shame. Here is the plot twist that most people miss. You aren't avoiding the work because it is hard. You are avoiding the work because of the emotions the work forces you to feel. You are avoiding the feeling of incompetence. You are avoiding the feeling of boredom. You are avoiding the feeling of uncertainty. We live in an age of constant overstimulation. Your brain is used to high speed, high color, high dopamine inputs from your screens. Real work, meaningful work, it is slow. It is boring. It is quiet. It doesn't give you applause every 15 seconds. When you switch from TikTok to writing a report, your brain goes into withdrawal. It feels like you are walking through mud. You interpret this withdrawal as, I can't do this. But it's just your dopamine receptors screaming for a hit. You aren't lazy. You are under-stimulated by reality and overstimulated by fantasy. Let's talk about the cost. And I don't mean the money you lose or the promotions you miss. I mean the internal cost. The spiritual cost. Every time you make a promise to yourself, I will go to the gym. I will finish this chapter. And then you break it. You are damaging your reputation with yourself. Imagine you had a friend who flaked on you every single day. They said, I'll meet you at 7, and they never showed up. Eventually, you would stop trusting them. You would stop believing a word they say. This is what has happened between you and you. You have broken so many micro-promises that you no longer believe your own voice. When you say, I'm going to change my life this year, your subconscious mind rolls its eyes. It says, yeah, right. I've heard that before. Pass the remote. This loss of self-trust is the heaviest burden you carry. It makes you feel small. It makes you feel like a passenger in your own body. It creates a low-level hum of depression that colors everything you do. Even when you are resting, you aren't really resting, because you know you should be doing something else. You are stealing joy from your leisure time to pay interest on a debt of work you never did. So, how do we break this? How do we stop wasting years and start living them? We do not do it with motivation. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are like weather, unpredictable and temporary. We need a system. We need to rewire the response to discomfort. Step 1 is the stupidly small start. You are ambitious, so you make big plans. I will write for 2 hours. That is too big. Your brain sees that as a threat. You need to lower the bar until it is so low you cannot say no. Your goal is not to write for 2 hours. Your goal is to open the document and write 1 sentence. That's it. If you write 1 sentence and stop, you win. Why? Because the hardest part of any rocket launch is the first 10 feet. The amount of fuel needed to get off the ground is massive. Once you are moving, physics takes over. Friction decreases. By setting a goal of 1 sentence, or put on gym shoes, you trick your brain into crossing the threshold of starting without triggering the fear alarm. You are negotiating with your amygdala, not fighting it. Step 2 is friction management. You cannot rely on willpower. Willpower is a battery, and by 8 p.m., it is dead. You need to design your environment so that the good behavior is the path of least resistance. If you want to stop scrolling in bed, you cannot rely on deciding not to scroll. You must charge your phone in the kitchen. Make the bad habit annoying to do. If you want to work, close all the tabs except the one you need. Disconnect the internet if you have to. You have to treat your future self like a toddler who cannot be trusted with distractions. Be the parent to your own brain. Create an environment where doing the work is actually easier than avoiding it. Step 3 is forgive the past version of you. This is the most important part. You cannot shame yourself into change. Shame drains energy. It makes you want to hide. If you wasted 2025, if you wasted yesterday, if you wasted the last 10 years, you have to let it go. Literally, right now. Visualize that wasted time as a heavy coat you are wearing. Take it off and drop it on the floor. It's gone. You cannot get it back. Beating yourself up over it is just another form of procrastination. It is just another way to stay stuck in the past instead of acting in the present. Speak to yourself like you would speak to a friend who is struggling. Okay, you messed up. That's human. Let's try again for just 10 minutes. Compassion creates the safety needed to take risks. Self-hatred just creates more paralysis. You need to reframe your identity. You are not a procrastinator. That is a label, not a biology. You are a person with a high drive for quality who has learned a protective habit. That habit is outdated. It is like wearing a winter coat in the middle of summer. It protected you once, maybe in school, maybe in a chaotic home, but now it is just weighing you down. You are safe to try. You are safe to make things that are imperfect. You are safe to be a beginner. The world does not need your perfection. It needs your presence. It needs you to show up, messy and incomplete, and just begin. Think about next year. Imagine it is exactly 1 year from today. You are sitting in this same spot. If nothing changes, you will feel exactly the same way you do right now, only a little older, a little more tired, and a little more regretful. That is the default path. But there is another timeline, a timeline where you closed this video, put the phone down, and did one small imperfect thing, and then you did it again tomorrow. And the next day, in that timeline, you are looking back at this moment as the turning point. You aren't perfect in that future, but you are moving, you are building, you are trusting yourself again. That timeline is available to you, but it doesn't happen in the future. It happens right now. The only time you can ever change your life is in the immediate, uncomfortable present. The year isn't wasted until you decide to stop trying. And you haven't stopped. You're still here. You're still listening. That means there is a part of you that is ready to fight for your time. Listen to that part. I want you to leave a comment down below. Don't make a huge declaration. Just write, I am starting today. That's it. A small promise to yourself and to this community. Let's stop waiting for the perfect moment. Let's just start.